It's time to go make some videos. We're back. Let's get some of this noise shut down. Right there. There we go. In my last video, I was showing you guys some new tools that came out. We had the spring punches. There was the fancy light. And I have that hanging back here. And also when I opened up the box, there was a bunch of these MG 325s. Let me show you why them MG 325s are so bad. We got our back to school stuff hung up here. The problem is it's going to be hard to show you guys stuff when we were really busy this last week. So we're missing not only my workbench back here, but also the toolbox up front. So first thing we need to do, let's get this truck loaded up. So these here are the MG 325s. They're all the exact same, little different colors to them. There's another flat black one there. And what I have here is my MG 325. Let's see what makes this thing so bad. I'd like to thank our anonymous sponsor who sent us a case of the Scott's towels. That was awesome. I'm pretty sure that was Jim K. And some milk bones. He won't admit it though. But the only way that we can get into this thing and see what makes this thing tick is to take it apart. So we got a ratchet. I like to put the little thumb on there. And then we have our one Torx bit that's going to take this whole thing apart. Let's take it apart. Alright, so I've been pretty busy. I took apart two different guns. I actually have a 1/2-inch gun and I have our 3/8 gun here all taken apart. And the reason I did that is I want to show you guys a little bit of a difference between our gun and some of the other guns out there. I'm not saying ours is better or theirs is better or anything like that. These are the differences. I'm not here to do competitive comparisons. So the one thing is that we use an oil bath, and you can actually see there's a little bit of oil left over inside of there. Compared to almost everybody uses grease. And on here there's a little grease fitting. Oh, right there it is. And you can tell that it doesn't get greased. You guys might grease yours, but this one didn't. And what grease was in there flung to the outside of this chamber and doesn't get inside the bearings. And what did get inside the bearings, because they have an open bearing style here, also had all the contaminants of the air that was running through there. So that's an open bearing. You can see the ball bearings inside of there. On our gun here, you can see that that's a sealed bearing, so that's still nice and moves real good. The other big thing is, now the vane, it looks like the vane material is about the same. Now keep in mind this is our 3/8, that's their 1/2 inch. They're going to be a little bigger. But it looks like the material is the same material, which is good. This is a good vane material. But the biggest difference is theirs has 6 vanes in their 1/2 inch, and we have 8 vanes in our 3/8 and our 1/2 inch. And that's where you're going to get that power from, that the air going in, turning this rotor with all these vanes in there is what's going to get that thing just cranking along. On top of that, we're using oil instead of grease, and oil seems to allow the parts to spin a little bit easier. So a couple failure points was this bearing failed on it. That's why this is a trade-in that I took. But this bearing failed, and it's really jerky to turn it, just from all the dirt inside of there. And then it just doesn't have as much power because there's not as many vanes here. And then as far as doing maintenance on this, everything in here has grease on it, because at some point somebody did grease this thing. But then as time goes on, then we kind of forget about maintenance on our stuff. This is the air inlet valve. You can just see all the grease on there. So maintenance wise, having the power, these MG325s really got their stuff together. And that's why you haven't seen them changed in so many years. Now the MG325, you still need to use air tool oil. You still need to put air tool oil inside of here. That lubricates the trigger as well as the cylinder with the rotor. That gets it in there and keeps everything well lubricated, as well as taking off any of the moisture on the vanes or inside of there. Let's talk a little bit about maintenance. No matter what style gun you have or whoever's it is, let's make it last as long as possible, right? So on a lot of impacts, you're gonna see something like that you need to put grease inside of. And I'll show you the grease gun, but there's a ton of other tools out there, even our Snap-on ones, that take this grease from the same type of gun. Let me show you. So here's our mini grease gun. This part number is YA4190. And it comes as a kit like this with this tube. You can manually fill these up with grease. Otherwise, we sell the air ratchet grease. This is a YA4190 DIS, that's dispenser. So when you get this, it's got a little black cap on it like that. Pull that off. We're gonna go ahead and take the seal off the top and actually thread it right on there. Okay, once you have that threaded on, pump it, which seems like an eternity, until the grease comes out the end. Now, what do you use that on, you might ask? A couple non-power tool things could be, how about your impact wobbles? You can get in there, put a nice little bit of grease inside of there, just pump it in there, couple pumps. That'll definitely make that last a lot longer. But let's get back to air tools and cordless as well. So this is our PT400 series. This is an angle die grinder. And inside of there, you can actually see there's some grease. On the side, right by where the handle mounts, there's a little grease zerk that's meant for this. So we just put this up right tight on there, push, and pump some grease in there. Help prolong the life of this tool just by adding a little bit of grease on there. How about ratchets? That's actually what this says. It says air ratchet grease on there, and I'll show you how. So on your air ratchets and your cordless ratchets, on the selector knob right in the middle, you see that? It looks like a little rivet. That's actually a grease fitting to pump this grease in. And this is going to make this tool last quite a bit longer. Do you have one of our cordless ratchets and it seems like It just doesn't have the power, it slips. There are some washers inside here that have to have that grease to last longer. In addition to that, in the side, you want to put a couple of pumps of grease on each side, just to make that last a lot longer. You guys spend good quality money on your tools, whether they're Snap-on or something else. Let's help make it last a little bit longer. Use it on die grinders, impacts, almost all the air tools other than our 1/2-inch drive stuff, which has an oil bath in it. But look your tools over. If you see something that looks like a little rivet, that could be the grease zerk for that. On this particular one, it's been so dirty for so long that it filled in, it's hard to see, but that was the grease zerk, and this is how you get to it. All right, guys, I appreciate you spending some time with me this evening. I'm having a blast doing this. Question of the day, how often do you grease your pneumatic and cordless tools? Let me know down in the comments below. On that note, I appreciate it, and you guys have a good night.